Now who talks say we know they come back again? We they come back bigger, stronger and better. This time around, my brother. Indigenous people of Biafra IPOB don't come again with Obungalicious, acrobatic, Dumbakalakoshik movement action. This one go break everywhere. Now earthquake in they come. This earthquake, they different types. So the first one go come, the second one go come, the third one go come, and the one will go turn the zoo upside down, and we go make the world vibrate. They come. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, my country people of Biafra, on 1st of October, this announcement is so important that you must carry your seat, carry your bench, carry everything, come around, come sit down, come here waiting with the talk. For 1st October, nothing like March past, nothing like anything, nothing like a movement in Biafra land. No school go March past, no motor go run. Now total lockdown, sit at home, proper. On that day, 1st October, any school, any motor, we try anything where you see, now your fault. We no one see fly. We no one see your fowl for road. We no one see your goat. We no one see any shop for street open. After we don't talk, people go say, okay, now so they did. As in do they talk now, then they gamara no buhapebere on this one. When we they talk now, and make we tell you exactly what thing go happen. From that 1st of October, we no one see any zoo flag for any building, for any establishment, for any school, for any church, anywhere at all, except for bank. Draw your ear. The only place where we live say make this zoo flag remain na banks. Any other place, no more. Here and now, if we catch you, you go do salute, you go do march past. The school we go deal with them, the principal we go deal with them, the motorway carrier we go deal with them. Because now we don't come out, we say we don't come out. You think say we don't go back, we never go back. Because if we la so now make we they bring this notice to you. This message they come from the indigenous people of Biafra, the owners of the land, the original owners of the land, under the leadership of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu or Hamadike Wananebu, the man that have refused every nonsensical nonsense and garbage from the zoo. We they tell
nke pụrụ m ihe niile Chukwu okike abịa banye ndefe na aja aha nsọ ya mma mgbe niile. Onye ọ bụ naanị ya na-achị eluigwe n'ụwa na-agba akaebe ịhụnanya gị na ebere gị amara gị na ọmịiko gị ebe ndị gị na-eze ebede ngọzi. Anyị wee na-etoghị agbanyeghị atụmatụ ọjọọ niile nke ndị iro, iwe nye anyị ndụ ala nke dị n'uwedo n'ụbọchị nke taa. Anyị wee na-asị na ịja mma niile oto niile dịrị aha nsọ gị. Onye ọ bụ naanị ya ka ike niile na ọ gbadara aka ya. Anyị wee na-akpọku gị na-asị gị na nke ọma anyị ga-ekele gị, nke ọjọọ ma anyị kelee gị. Anyị wee na-aja gị mma, wee na-eto gị, wee na-asọpụrụ gị n'isi ụmụ gị niile bụ ndị ikwu ndị wee ezi oku mgbe a kpọrọ ha ka ha wee chekwaa ala nsọ gị bụ Biafra onye nwe m na Chineke na ihe n'ikwuru anyị nkwa na o mekataghị ka ndị iro wee were ala nsọ Biafra onye nwe m na Chineke na nke bi n'igwe. Agbanyeghị atụmatụ ọjọọ niile nke ndị iro ma ndị na-agba mgbọgba ebe niile dị iche iche onye nwe m na Chineke nna ihere bụ nke ndị dị etu a n'ụbọchị nke taa. Anyị wee na-eto gị, wee na-asị onye nwe anyị na Chineke nna nke pụrụ m ihe niile, onye ọ bụ naanị ya na-azọpụta, onye ọ bụ naanị ya bụ okwu ya niile bụ ihe na amen. Anyị wee na-asị ezi ebube dị ngọzi na otuto na ịja mma na nsọpụrụ site n'ebighị ebi ma ruo n'ebighị ebi. Ise ise ise.
Welcome, my amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are connecting from. If you are joining me from Africa, Asia, Europe, America, or Australia, whatever part of the world you are joining me from, I thank you so much and I appreciate you for your contributions on my channel. Please always subscribe when you watch my channel and also share the video. Share to your family and friends. Share it to everybody that need to hear. Share to all platforms. That is where you can be able to pass your own message. And also, don't forget the prayer that we are making with our son of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. If you have not joined, please kindly join. Join the prayer. That is where we can stand strong, stand along with our son of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, and continue to pursue our freedom the best way we can. This is what we all have to do. Remember, in this channel, we speak up for all the indigenous people in the contraption called Nigeria, more especially the indigenous people of Biafra. We speak up for the Biafrans, we speak up to the Duduans, speak up for the Middle Beltans, and every other person who is sincerely willing to get out of this very contraption called Nigeria and set him or her life free from captivity. That is why we are here. And we are also here to make sure that we debunk all lies that the conventional media in Nigeria are pushing forward. They are pushing a lot of lies, trying to demonize the IPOB, demonize Sunamas and Nadikan, demonize the people who are asking for their freedom in the country called Nigeria. And here we debunk all the lies and put them bare for you to know what is actually going on. That is why you have to share the videos. Each time you come across my video, share the video to all platforms, to anybody who you feel that can be able to hear our voice. Share the video. Share the video of everyone that is speaking up for the people that are suffering in that country called Nigeria. You can equally do the same with your own platform. Use your platform to speak up. It doesn't matter how small your platform is. It doesn't matter how big your platform is. Use it to speak up. Speak up about the plight of your own people. Speak up about the things that are happening in your own area. If you see something, say something. The more we become silent, the more we allow these people to overtake us. Today, we are going to talk about the situation of the country called Nigeria. You have seen the debate that is going everywhere. The attack of the northern governors by this of the southern governors by the northern governors. You can see the southern part of Nigeria is coming under attack on daily basis from the north for no just cause. Not because they have killed anybody, not because they have hijacked anybody, not because they have stolen anything, not because they are demanding for ransom, but because they are asking for their legitimate right. That is why the northern part of Nigeria are raising hell against the southern part of Nigeria. Why are they raising hell? The southern part of Nigeria has not committed any crime. All that we are asking is for their rights. And most of those rights are being enshrined in the law of Nigeria. You can see when they were talking about the issue of VAT, they raised hell from all corners. Everybody was shouting in the north. Even people you think that are knowledgeable came out and begin to talk like idiots. Begin to call up on those governors in the southern part of Nigeria that are speaking what is right, asking for their legitimate right. Allow them to use the VAT to develop their state. And this is what the law says. The law has never permitted the federal government to take a VAT from them to go and begin to give other people and dash other people who are not ready to better themselves. They have forgotten all this. Everything that you do in Nigeria, they say you have to do it for your conscience, you have to do it because you have to favor other people. But these people, when the thing has to favor the people of the southern part of Nigeria, they will never agree to it. It is only when it favors them, that is when they will tell you to apply love, apply peace, apply understanding. But when it comes to applying that same understanding that favors the southern part of Nigeria, no northern will support that. Today you see the debate in VAT. Everybody in the north has not supported the issue of VAT. All of them want that VAT to still be collected by the federal government and shared to all of them because they are lazy gluttons who are not ready to do anything for themselves. They are supporting it. They don't want the southern part of Nigeria to be able to take their VAT. And some evil governors who are being paid by this very Fulani Janjaweed are still supporting the evil. Evil governors. Somebody like Dave Umahi. Dave Umahi, somebody who is not even supposed to come out and speak in the public. Somebody who is not supposed to come out and speak in public because he is evil. He has nothing to offer to his own people. They have talked about open grazing. He supported the government in the open grazing. He supported the government in open grazing and refused to enact the law on open grazing. They talked about VAT. He has stood against the VAT, that he's not part of the VAT, that the money should be shared out of love to everybody. This is somebody who is supposed to be representing his own people. His own people are asking for referendum. He has never spoken out to him for them. The only thing Dave Umahi have to do is to come out and begin to tell us that we have to pray that God should give them, not us, that God should give them a president like Muhammad Buhari. What does that mean? What does that tell you? That Dave Umahi is insane. And I cannot say it better. I would like to play the video of a fellow governor, an evil man like him, even though he knows better than Dave Umahi. A fellow governor who knows better than him, even though he himself is not pure, have spoken and talked about Dave Umahi. Look at how he described Dave Umahi.
I saw a governor saying that he prays Nigeria gets another president like Buhari. Hi. I said, come. What has gone wrong with? You mean there shouldn't be psychiatric check on that governor? You see, psychophancy. And he knows that president knows that you are telling lies. He knows. My president knows that we are studying.
These are people in the aim of affair. In the southeastern part of Nigeria, that's why I say the southeastern part of Nigeria is in hell and must not accept anything that has to do with election, because the people you have in the southeastern part of Nigeria are evil men. They are evil people, evil men everywhere. You see the Northern Forum coming out every time to make defense for their people, to fight for their own people. Anything that has to better their life of the people, they pursue it. They don't care, even if it favors the southern part of Nigeria or it doesn't favor the southern part of Nigeria. All they care about is their own personal view. You talk about VAT, they begin to tell you about being generosity, being your brother's keeper. But when you talk about things that will favor everybody and favor even the southern part of Nigeria, they will never accept it. They are talking about the rotational presidency. The northern people are standing against the rotational presidency with all their power, with all their force. All their forum are speaking up against the rotational presidency, knowing fully well that it favors the south. Even though I do not agree on anything that has to do with tribal presidency. If Nigeria was a sane country, nobody will be talking about a tribal president. You will not be attaching tribe to presidency. But now, in Nigeria, you cannot talk about presidency without putting tribe behind it. That is the truth of Nigeria. The how divided and how disunity has a taproot in Nigeria and can never be removed. The only way you can remove this division is by breaking it up into pieces. People should go their separate ways, then begin to practice what they want to practice and push forward a qualified president to rule them. But as long as you remain in Nigeria, begin to talk about Nigeria, it doesn't matter how many times you conduct the election, it doesn't matter the system you use to conduct the election, there will always be an ulterior motive, only to push forward the tribe that they love. Only to push forward a particular tribe and make sure that other ones are being demonized. It has been happening, and it will continue to happen until the country is broken into pieces and people go their separate ways. These people do not mean well for anybody. In the southern part of Nigeria, respect, they don't mean any well for you. Listen to what the case the Northern Forum are making against the South, simply because they talked about the constitutional president, which they themselves agreed to, even though it's not in the constitution. But when you see them talking, you see when they were talking about VAT, they told you for equity to be your brother's keeper and for understanding that you should allow the federal government to take the VAT. In presidency rotation, for equity, for love, and for everything to work well, why don't you allow the South to produce the president? They said no to that, and they speak violently about it. Watch.
We will lead Nigeria the way we have led Nigeria before. Whether we are president or vice president or whatever, we will lead Nigeria. Not because we are better than anybody else, but because if you are doing a democratic game, the votes say vote who you want. We have the majority of the votes. Why do we need to accept a second-class position when we can fight for and get a first-class position? Why? Why does anybody need to threaten us and cajole us and intimidate us? If you don't bring the presidency here, you will see. Okay, let's see. We are willing to see. But when we get that power, in the name of God, be humble, because power comes from God. If they tell you the North must play second fiddle, say no. But in what game? Please, sir, what are the rules of this game? If the rules of the game say you should vote for the candidate of your choice, vote for the candidate of your choice. If they don't like the fact that it may be a northerner who will emerge as president, too bad. If we want to support a southerner, we will support a southerner because that will be in our own interest rather than in somebody's interest. And we can decide for ourselves. We don't need anybody to tell us what to do.
Deliberately refuse to adhere to the provision that the president is trying to make just because they have an innermost plan. They have a plan, they have a thinking, they have a motive that they are trying to execute. That is the reason why they decided to refuse to comply with that. And in any case, this is a political situation. We are in a political government, and under a political dispensation, the voice of the people is the voice of government. Government has no authority on its own. Whoever becomes a governor, a president, a senator, a member House of Reps, a member State House of Assembly, or a local government chairman is doing that on the neck of Nigerians. Now, Nigerians are not happy with what these governors are doing. Even within the state that they reside, the people that they think are the members or the citizens or indigents of those states that they think they are truly not happy with this, because we have received several complaints, even from the Yorubas themselves, that their governors are doing what they are doing. And again, like I said, we are under a political dispensation. And these same people are saying that they needed power in 2023. I wonder how we, the Northerners, will accept to vote anybody that is not a Northerner in 2023 with this kind of arrangement that is going on, that openly, even though even as at this time that you are not in government, you are already indicating that you cannot unite the country. You are already doing, you are already segregating against Nigerians. You are already depriving some Nigerians from their means of livelihood. Now that you have not been given the opportunity to lead Nigeria, you are already doing this. Then what more if we decide to accept that we will support any candidate from the southern part of Nigeria? It means the north will be gone. I think this is also a better and stronger basis within which we will continue to clamor and call on our people to know that they cannot and should not and should never, and we will not allow through the ballot box anybody that will not unite this country to be the next president of Nigeria in 2023, because automatically you have indicated that you cannot hold this country together. If you are given the opportunity to lead, you are only going to divide, because what you are doing now is a method of division. It's an indirect dividing the country, because where you deprive me of my means of livelihood, and what else do you expect me to do? What else? And we are talking of crime and criminality. And we are trying to see to it that crime and criminality is reduced to the barest minimum. The government at the center is doing everything humanly possible to ensure that crime and criminality across the federation is being reduced to the barest minimum. But by this act, you are indirectly instigating violence. You are indirectly instigating chaos. You are indirectly, expressing that you are not willing to continue to, to harbor other Nigerians from the other part of the country that are resident in you. And I've said it before, I'm going to repeat it again. In Kano and Kaduna alone, you have more than 19 million, in the entire northern Nigeria, you have more than 19 million Yorubas resident in the 19 northern states. And not only resident, these guys owns personal property, land, farmlands, houses, and shops, and what have you. And we live with these people peacefully. We try as much as we can to protect them, to protect their lives, to protect their properties. Why is it that the properties and the lives of our own people that are resident in your own state is not being protected, is not being guided? That is not to say that we don't know what we are doing. We are not fools. We also have feelings the way you have feelings. We think the way you think. We can act the way you act. But we have been trying as much as we can to restrain our people from taking the laws into their hands. And by what you are doing, you are instigating violence. So we are saying that the southern governors should go back and have a rethink of this, their policy. We don't have problem with their policy for as long as they are going to provide an alternative for our people that are resident there, most especially with this grazing issue. If they are going to provide alternative for the Fulanis, build grazing reserves for them, and then let them go into the grazing reserve and be paying you on meritorium, or even if it is rent on a monthly basis. But you are passing a law that says you do not want to see a single cow moving on the street. You do not want to see a single cow moving on the street, and you do not provide an alternative for them. For God's sake, how will they feed those animals? How? How will they be able to feed these animals? And you keep on arresting these animals and also charging fees, charging and collecting fees from the Fulani nomads that are innocently trying to find a way of putting ends together. We are saying no to this, and we're also meant to understand a lot of these charges that were being given, there's even no receipt for the charges. You only charge them, and at the end of the day, they leave. Arrest their cows, and then charge them exorbitantly before releasing the cows, and the next 3 days you come back and rearrest again. This is not the best way of revenue generation. If you want to generate revenue, you should build ranches. After building the ranches, then you can enact your law, then push the Fulanis into the ranch, those that refuse to obey those laws. Now we know that they deliberately refuse to obey the laws, and we are law-abiding citizens. Northerners are law-abiding. We are Nigerians. We believe in Nigeria. We respect the laws of Nigeria. We will never break the law. We will never support breaking the law of the Federation, but you should also not instigate breaking the law, because what you are doing, you are instigating violence indirectly. With this, I will rest my case. Gentlemen of the press, if you have any question, I'm here to answer. That is the stand of... What is the stand of the group towards that? That's not just the group. We speak for Northern Nigeria. This is... The stand of Northern Nigeria... The stand of Northern Nigeria in 2023 is that the North still have a balance of 4 years and will continue. We will make sure that we balance of our 4 years before moving power. We were even beginning to think that we can consider our brothers, because politics is all about number. We have the numbers. We have the numbers, we have the voting strength. And you cannot become a president when you don't have the majority of vote. We have the majority of vote. We were willing to give that majority of vote to other parts of Nigerians that we feel will harmonize, unite, and move the country forward. But we understand by this act now, it is clear to us that it is good that we are standing on our position. It is good that we are still insisting that the North will continue until after 2023, until after 4 years. Then we can now come into round table and begin to negotiate. By the act of the governors of the southwestern state, it is clear that they cannot, if any of them or anybody from that part becomes a president, he cannot unite this country. He will not unite this country. He will not work towards the general and national interests of Nigeria. And we, the Northerners, are known to be fair in judgment. We are fair in thinking, and we are fair in leadership. And that was why today, if you go, you find out that most of the infrastructural development that has taken place under the present Northern leadership is done in the southwestern part of Nigeria and the southeastern part, with a very little of it taking place in the northern part of Nigeria. Even with that, the Southerners and the Easterners are still complaining of marginalization and what have you. Then if you give, this act has indicated that if given the opportunity, then we are going to be slaves in our own country. For this, we are insisting that the North will continue to hold on to power. We have the vote. Whoever that needed to be a president should go and contest under a political party, and then let his credibility sell him, and let the votes count. Let the vote decide who becomes the next Nigeria's president.
This is why Nigeria can never work. It is not one that can never work. And anybody who is promoting one Nigeria is promoting an evil agenda that will destroy every indigenous tribe in Nigeria. Is an evil agenda is what you are promoting, and that evil agenda will definitely destroy you. You that call yourself a one Nigerianist, you that just call yourself someone who is promoting Nigeria, talking of a better tomorrow that you and I know that will never come. You are asking a Nigeria of justice, a Nigeria that will have justice and equity, and you know that it can never happen because the inequality is being placed in their constitution. It's in the constitution. Is foundational, and you cannot remove it. The only way you can uproot the inequality is by disintegration. People go their separate ways. If at the end of the day they wrote their own constitution differently and they later choose to come back, they will now sit back and write a constitution that everybody will put a signature to. Not this very one that people do not sign up to. And this is the legitimate right that everybody in the southern part of Nigeria is asking for today. They are being demonized. Even the governors who are not speaking much, the little they are speaking, they come under attack heavily from the north. And you are talking of one Nigeria. Where is the one Nigeria? Nigeria has never been one and will never ever be one. It doesn't matter the language you use. It doesn't matter the kind of way you push it. It doesn't matter the way you try to paint it. Nigeria can never be one. That is the truth. It's a bitter truth, but that is the truth. If you want to have a sane country where you will have equality, where you have sensible people, you have to begin to ask for a breakup. For you to be able to have a country, you can establish a country where you can live like human. I would like you to watch this video of an explanation that was made on Arise TV by the presenters, what they were saying about this whole debate and the attack from the north against the south. Look at here what they will have to say. Even though I do not agree with whatever they are saying 100%, but still, listen, use your senses and listen. You can be able to catch up one or two things that you can be able to make use of. Those that are not important, throw them away. This is why each time they make whatever they do on their conventional media, will bring it to the social media to discuss about it and pick up those things that are real and debunk the lies in it. The truth in everything is that there can never be any one Nigeria, and there has never been. Listen to what they're saying in Arise Television.
The NSGF stated in its position, affirming its rights to stake claim to the presidency in 2023, and unanimously condemned the statement by the Southern Governors Forum that the presidency must go to the South. In a communique issued at the end of the meeting was read by the chairman of the forum, and Governor of Plateau State, Mr. Simon Lalong, insisted that the position of Southern governors on the power shift is contradictory with the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is back and forth, Tundu. Now we're seeing this game come out in earnest.
Yes, we are, but it's not surprising, is it? Well, speaking personally, I'm not surprised at all. There was always going to be this kind of pushback. But it must be said that the resolutions of the Southern governors are not taken in isolation. If you recall, there have been 3 meetings. First in Asaba, then Lagos, then Enugu. And each time the Southern governors have upped the ante. And they are not doing so in isolation. They're doing that as a response to the response from the North. So unfortunately, what we're seeing is an escalation of tensions. In Asaba, you'll recall that they didn't even talk about the Southern presidency at all. They were talking about the anti-open grazing laws and the kind of sort of patronizing criticism that they got from Northern voices. Sort of, I think, enraged them a little bit, such that the next meeting, they now said Nigeria should have a Southern president. And everybody, I don't mean to use a colloquialism that almost just came out of my mouth, they got their knickers in a twist about that in the North. Then the next meeting, you could see the Southern governors continue to even dig their heels in, even when they now said, we must have a Southern president. So the language is changing in response to the kind of pushback that they're getting from the North. And the North is also responding in exactly the same way, saying what they actually said. They didn't say that, oh, now we must have a president from the North. No, that's not what they said. They said that some Northern governors have said they want a Southern president because of, in the interest of fairness, equity, what have you. However, that was some Northern governors who said that. However, they all unanimously condemn that statement from the Southern governors. So they're still telling the Southern governors how to dot their I's and cross their T's. They're basically marking their communique, going, yeah, that you get a tick for that. No, that's wrong. So I find it very patronizing, actually, but I also find it very interesting because now we're getting to the point where, unfortunately, it's not according to the party, which is what I've always believed about Nigerian politics. It's a party that will determine. It's now the governors. We all know governors are massively important, but Dr. Abati, are they more important than the party in choosing a presidential candidate?
Well, they are no more important than the people of Nigeria. Because at the end of the day, it's the people of Nigeria that should choose who should lead them at the center.
But who the party offers is what we choose from.
Yeah, well, that is correct. But in this particular case, the people, civil society, they also have a role to play in the matter. The party cannot stay above the level of the people, and the voice of the people is important. However, Nigeria finds itself in a very peculiar situation. If you read, American media, Western media, they like to talk in terms of North-South divide in Nigeria. Everything is reduced to religion, ethnicity, and geographical divide. What we're doing, because for many years, some of us who are journalists from this part of the world try to tell the American media that, look, your analysis is jaundiced, you divide the country along ethnic and geographical lines. It's far more complex than that. What we have done in this country, as people race towards 2023, is to confirm that stereotype that Nigeria is a divided country, North and South. And I think that, in a sense, the Northern Governors Forum meeting on the key issues of the day simply confirm that. And we may have lost the moral right to tell American journalists that Nigeria is not radically divided, north-south, along geographical, ethnic, and religious lines. Now, the position that has been taken by the Northern Governors Forum, 19 states in the north, 17 in the south, guess it's understandable. Our country is divided. That's one strong message that has come out. The difference also is that the 19 governors of the North, in coming together, they came with their traditional rulers, led by His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, who is a very enlightened man. So he has put his weight and the weight of the caliphate behind the position of the northern governors. How many traditional rulers ever showed up at the meetings of the 3 meetings held so far by the southern governors? No traditional ruler. So the North, they are sending a message. They are upping the stake. Now, the third thing to take away from that meeting is that even the Middle Belt representatives were there. Plateau and some other states from the Middle Belt, they were in that meeting. What's his name again? The governor of Plateau. Lalong. He is even the chairman of the Governors Forum. He was the spokesperson. You can see that tactical move in terms of trying to debunk some of the signals from the southern part of Nigeria. Now, to the key issues. That meeting addressed the key issues. It's out there in the public domain. One, they say the southern governors are misinterpreting, misrepresenting value-added tax as 6 stars, whereas it is not. There is no time any governor in southern Nigeria had ever said that it was 6 stars. Even the dumbest amongst them had come on air to say it is a consumption tax, right? And the whole argument is that why will you collect consumption tax in Atakumosa and you use it to the advantage of a man in Kaura Namoda? That's the argument. It's not about sales tax, but you see how tactically they've shifted it. Now about rotational presidency. They say, yes, that in the Constitution there is no such thing. Yes, there's no such thing in the Constitution. But the argument about Nigeria, its future, its present, is about equity, justice, togetherness, developing a sense of ownership. And people in the southern part of Nigeria are saying, look, it will make sense to rotate the presidency. It's not about the Constitution. It's about togetherness. It's about national unity. But northern leaders, along with the traditional institution in the North, they are saying that, no, that does not make sense. There are other statements about, development of the country, about unity, about security. Yeah, those ones are in order, perfectly in order. And the northern leaders say they will help to fight criminality, the rise of criminality in parts of the country. But on the key issues of the day, they have made the point that they are not on the same page with the people of the South. Renewable energy, that's not a problem. Anybody can deal with that. But power shift, VAT, the future of Nigeria, there's a clear division in Nigeria. But what we would like to say is that whether these leaders are from the South or from the North, there should be a common interest, the survival of Nigeria, a commitment to save Nigeria. And I hope that, the leaders in the southern part of the country will see that the game is on towards 2023 and who leads Nigeria. So in 2023, the North has made it very clear, and it's the same position held by the Northern Elders Forum, by the Arewa Consultative Forum, and we'll see how it goes. What is the problem? Nigeria is not yet a nation because we're a divided people.
Or probably, like Benjamin Disraeli said, 2 nations.
After watching the people from our right, you can see that the only man who is speaking the truth the way it is without looking to somebody's face is our Sultan Nnamdi Kanu. Our Sultan Nnamdi Kanu have always said it. There has never been any one Nigeria, and there will never be any one Nigeria. The only solution is a breakup. You break it up to save life. Break it up, we break the interest, and people will begin to live a responsible life. Break it up so that people can be able to defend their borders. It's only our Sultan Nnamdi Kanu who has made this genuine case, and he remains the only man speaking the voice of the people. It doesn't matter what you say about him. It doesn't matter how you think about him. He remains the leader, and we'll continue to follow him. May Chukwu Okike Abiyama continue to guide and protect our Sultan Nnamdi Kanu. May Chukwu Okike Abiyama continue to strengthen our Sultan Nnamdi Kanu. May Chukwu Okike Abiyama continue to guide him, grant him more revelation, give him good health wherever he is, and bring him back to us very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching, wherever you are watching from. And remember, Bye-bye. See you again on the next video.
Now who talks say we know they come back again? We they come back bigger, stronger and better. This time around, my brother. Indigenous people of Biafra IPOB don't come again with obungalicious, acrobatic, dumbakalako movement action. This one go break everywhere. Now earthquake in they come. This earthquake they different types. So the first one go come, the second one go come, the third one go come, and the one will go turn the zoo upside down, and we go make the world vibrate. They come. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, my country people of Biafra, on 1st of October, this announcement is so important that you must carry your seat, carry your bench, carry everything, come around, come sit down, come here waiting with the talk. For 1st October, nothing like march past, nothing like anything, nothing like a movement in Biafra land. No school go march past, no motor go run. Now total lockdown, now total lockdown. Sit at home, proper. On that day, 1st October, any school, any motor, we try anything where you see, now your fault. We no one see fly. We no one see your fowl for road. We no one see your goat. We no one see any shop for street open. After we don't talk, people go say, okay, now so they did. As in do already talk now, oh what be bearing. Then they gamara no what be bearing on this one. When we they talk now. And make we tell you exactly what thing will happen. From that 1st of October, we no one see any zoo flag for any building, for any establishment, for any school, for any church, anywhere at all, except for bank. Draw your ear. The only place where we live say, make this zoo flag remain, now banks. Any other place, no more. Here and now, if we catch you, you go do salute, you go do march past. The school we go deal with them, the principal we go deal with them, the motor we carry them we go deal with them. Because now we don't come out, we say we don't come out. You think say we don't go back, we never go back. Because if we la is right now, so now make we they bring this notice to you. This message they come from the indigenous people of Biafra, the owners of the land, the owners of the land, the original owners of the land, under the leadership of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu or Hamadike the man that have refused every nonsensical nonsense and garbage from the zoo. With the tell you,